Just want to quote from the Journal from an op-ed recently saying the first round of FBI versus Apple has handed the key question to Congress. Either the Fourth Amendment permits reasonable warranted searches in the digital area, or internet companies can design systems to defeat court orders, putting themselves, criminals, and terrorists above the law.
I would have argued that's a Supreme Court decision to make on the basis of it, but who knows? Let's bring in Andy Cunningham. He joins us now. She worked for Apple's communications and PR under Steve Jobs and now runs Cunningham Collective, a Silicon Valley marketing firm. Welcome to the program. Thank you for sparing the time, Andy. What is your view here on this revelation?
Well, I think this has always been a case about precedent, not about privacy. And Apple didn't want to set a precedent about having to write code at the direction of our government or any government or entity that wants to access an Apple device. So it's bad for business, as Apple said. It sets a very bad precedent and takes us to a very dark place. So I'm glad it's over, but it was you're right. It's just a deferral.
Well, for many consumers, arguably it's not over, because now a third party unidentified has come forward and they can crack the iPhone. Presumably commercially that's damaging for Apple. There has to be a commercial response, whether they then come through with a higher grade of technology on the new iPhones, which of course has been much of the discussion, Andy.
Correct, and they will, but make no mistake about it, no code, no device is unbreakable. Complete, absolute privacy just isn't possible in today's world of technology. Everything is hackable, and so they just have to keep getting better.
And Andy, of course, Apple has stated that, in fact, that they did not ever profess that their devices could not be cracked without their own help. So where does that leave Apple in terms of its, I guess, its brand and the message that it's wanted to send to consumers about its priorities when it comes to these issues?
Well, I think this case has put its priority with American free enterprise, and I think that's a good thing. Their image stands clear right now in that they did not have to stand in the way of intelligence gathering that might help prevent terrorism, so that's good too. But, you know, there is the security issue, and it's just going to be, they're going to have to continue on a cycle of constant, continuous improvement to try to get to a point where it's unhackable. But that is really a point that is not achievable.
You know, Andy, there are fervent views on both sides of this argument, very deeply felt by a number of people. Watching this conversation now, there will be those that think that Apple should have opened the phone who will be very angry. Those that think, perhaps rightly, that this country is at war with terrorists. And on a war footing, you have to ask for extraordinary measures. What would you say to those people who do feel, perhaps rightly, as angry as they do?
Well, the issue, as I said, is about precedent. And if Apple decides to write code or create a backdoor at the direction of our government, that means that they've set a precedent that another government or another entity could ask Apple to develop some kind of technology that might take us to a very negative place. So it seems like a good thing right now with terrorism. It could be a very bad thing for us in the future with some other kind of question or direction from the government.
I also wonder, as Apple has already worked, I believe, to try to tighten access to its cloud, which is one of the first things officials were able to access in this case. And then with the new phones that are launching later this year and going forward, should we expect, again, a heightened level of encryption and a more difficult path, again, for law enforcement?
Absolutely. We will get better and better and better at encryption, but it is a never-ending cycle to try to get to perfection, because it's not possible. As soon as we create something, a hacker can hack into it, and that will forever be the case.